Hello, I'm Jovan and I practice divination and healing arts. And this is my channel, Mystic Starseed Transmissions. And again, in the spirit of Halloween, I thought I'd do another video dressed the. In this video, I am going to touch on the individual and collective energies happening on the planet right now during this Halloween full moon, as well as going into November 1st for Dia de los Muertos, and even into, I'm feeling into November 2nd. These energies will be percolating in the atmosphere. So I will be going into that astrology a little bit, but I also really want to focus a little bit more on the channeling that I've received working with Gaia, the goddess energy, as well as Kali. So a little bit about the Taurus full moon. It is a very powerful moon, as I was talking about in my previous video, being a blue moon because it's the second full moon in the month of October. And the fact that it's on Halloween is very special as well, because this only happens every 19 years. And 19, excuse me, 19 is, in numerology, is a very spiritual number. It's actually a very positive spiritual number. And so if you think about it, you add 1 plus 9 and you get 10. So there's a completion of a cycle that is happening, and then something new is beginning. So it is like a portal, especially because this day and November 1st, these very powerful days where the veil is thin. And this means that we, the people of the flesh, can more easily tune in and communicate with beings that have either passed on to the other side or come from different realms that we don't normally see with our normal everyday five senses or feel, right? For some of us. So basically, again, it's a portal. And with that being said, there's a lot of help here, and I'm getting, it's mostly from the ancestors. Really briefly, I'm going to explain why the full moon, why it is celebrated or honored by some, in case you're not quite sure why this is a time to do ritual and to reflect. Basically, the full moon within the lunar cycle is about the harvesting. It's the time where you are is illuminating what you have created thus far in your life, or with a certain goal when you planted the seed. First planted the seed of intention. Usually, you know, during the new moon, it is the time to evaluate what needs fine-tuning within that creation, that manifestation, and then the good parts as well, what needs nurturing, and then of course what needs to be released so that you can continue to move up and continue to grow in an upward cycle. So this is definitely being amplified because we're in a Taurus full moon, and Taurus is very much the epitome of earth, all things material, all things physical, all things that grow. It's a very natural energy. I have like a little wild garden that I really connect with every morning, and I ask Gaia, what message would you like me to relay today in regards to this full moon, in regards to Halloween in the next few days coming up? What I received was that it is important for us right now, if we so choose, to utilize this time for what it has been created for, which is a portal into the unseen worlds where other beings exist, or where other beings have passed on to the other side. Basically, this is a time to connect with our ancestors, as well as the people before us that have lived here on this planet. So why? Because this is the message that Gaia was trying to relay to me, to explain. Gaia wants us to understand that everything that we are seeing that has transpired in this present moment was built by not only us, but our ancestors, the people before us. And what we are seeing is the fruits of the labor of humankind. And as we have been evolving as a human race for thousands of years, it has taken the effort of every single generation to get us where we are today. This has been a group effort, a connected effort from day one. And there's something beautiful to that, like the building of a foundation, a building of a structure of humankind as a conscious being on this planet. And we are a part of that. We are a generation, and there will be generations after us that we helped to bring to the level that they're at. Because everything is a step-by-step process in the cycle of life. And some of us may feel like the way we see the world, especially right now, the current events, the chaos that is happening, the chaos magic that is happening, this tumultuous time of transformation where things are dying, and before they can begin and renew in a better, more evolved cycle, the chaos, the swirling of the energy that is trying to turn into something as we batter the cake mix, or however you want to put it, it is intense, okay? And some of us may think that we have done a bad job, or not seen it that way at all, think that we're not responsible for it. But everything that has happened and transpired on this planet, every single one of us is responsible for. It is the law of cause and effect and seeing consequence. Now, if you see the world being terrible, then yeah, you may think, ooh, we've done really bad. But if you see the world and all the beautiful things that we've actually developed and seen how far we've come, it's actually something to celebrate and be proud of. You take the good with the bad. There's no good without the bad on this planet. And it just depends on how you want to perceive it. Okay? And within that, it's understanding that it's about taking accountability for what has been created. And that's okay. Because when we take accountability, it's not about shaming ourselves. It's about realizing the power that we have within every day of our life, and how it ripples out into our family, our friends, our community, our society, the global world. Every piece of the puzzle is important in creating this reality. We are moving forward, but it is a tumultuous time, and that is a part of the cycle of life. Now, the media is going to want to make it look like, oh, it's the end of the world. But you have to remember that the media is a business. It is a public service in a way, but it is still sponsored by product, by companies. And I'm not going to try to make this divisive and say anything about the media's intention, but you must know that business is a huge aspect of our culture and society. And the media sensationalizes things so that we continue to watch it. So, yes, there are bad things happening in the world. Yes, it is important to be informed, but remember, there are good things happening too. Another thing that Gaia wanted me to relay is that we are our ancestors. We are our ancestors. Not only that, we are a byproduct of flesh, made of flesh, of a byproduct of generations of, breeding, for lack of a better word. We have already experienced many lives on this planet. We have reincarnated many times, and we have been our ancestors. And we have reincarnated, a lot of us, into the same family lines. And that's kind of interesting to think about, because that definitely shows that we have contributed into building the world that we live in. So Gaia wants us to take pride in ourselves during this full moon, because we've come a long way and we're doing the work and we're burning through and clearing karma, even if it doesn't feel like it. And if you feel like you can't take pride in the world right now because of everything that's going on, that's okay. But so then how can you find your own power? This is a good time to this is a good time to see where you are in your own life. Where do you feel you can create a better, more loving, more joyful, successful, abundant, or life that you love to live? What steps can you take within you to contribute to the world that you want to live in? If you don't feel you have worldly power and you can't make a difference, that's not true. Believe me, if every single one of us did something to improve our lives for the highest good of all, heal ourselves, care for ourselves, care for others, the world would change one by one. Again, this moon is also about celebrating life. This is about self-care, loving ourselves, seeing the fruits of our labor, seeing the beauty and the blessing, the silver lining in all things, and just being grateful for what we have. Yes, there have been a lot of changes with Uranus and Taurus uprooting our routines, our everyday life, the things that we're used to, the things that give us comfort, security, and just knowing that it's a stable way of living. Maybe our finances, our jobs, our careers, our values have changed. Relationships have changed. And it's time to really think about why and how it's been beneficial, and thinking about it in a way that it has paved the way for something better that is coming. Moon, there's going to be some aha moments with Uranus. There's going to be a lot of energy out in the air tonight, in our bodies, all around. There are going to be people celebrating, and it's okay to celebrate. But I do want to say a couple more things about it, and that's the Uranus energy right now. We're in a full moon. Black moon Lilith, the full moon, and Uranus are all occupying the second house of Taurus. And so definitely a lot of changes in what we felt were things that we never thought would change. And we're going to receive an aha moment in the next couple nights. We're going to receive a realization about the way we've been stuck in our lives, whether mentally, emotionally, financially, in all ways. We're going to see how our belief systems have contributed to that. And we're going to receive an aha moment of how to fix it, or at least to accept what has been left behind or what needs to be left behind, so we can move forward with more clarity for our highest good. So it is time to reprogram our minds and the way we see our life and the way we see the world, because it is important for us to see how truly powerful we are as creator beings. And Uranus is a planet of greater insight, and it's going to be, that energy is going to be coursing through our bodies in the next few days, especially tonight, the full moon. You know how people get crazy. So if you don't want this energy to feel restless, erratic, or angry, the best thing to do is to practice some sort of movement, exercise, stretching, sex, dancing, massage, things that move your physical body so that the energy courses through you in a balanced way. This will simultaneously balance you, body, mind, heart, soul, in all the ways, and allow you to be grounded. Okay, now if you are going to be taking this time to do ritual, do ceremony, or stay home, or go out and have fun and socialize, it's all good. Now, if you don't want to do anything you may regret later, because there is that, probability here, or possibility here, just be mindful of what you consume and how much you consume. And if you want to do that, but you don't want to get too crazy, amethyst is actually a really good stone for that. So carry an amethyst with you. Okay, that keeps you clear-headed and doesn't let you get too intoxicated. Remember, it's all about really caring for our bodies right now. Our bodies are a huge focus during these energies, and it's because it's about embodying spirit into within us and grounding. Because Taurus is an extension of the body, of the physical matter, and we as humans and all sentient beings are extensions of Gaia herself. Now, with all that being said, the more we care for our bodies, the more we can receive the light codes, okay, and balance the energies here for a more harmonious environment. When we care for the body and we keep it in the correct balance and rhythm. That's why dancing is so important. Dancing gets us back into our rhythm and is very healing and really can align our body on so many levels so that we can handle the things happening, the challenges happening in life with grace. And so that brings me to the message that I channeled from Kali as a part of the cleansing purification process. This is the message that I received from Kali when I was channeling during my meditation. This is what came through. The magic of dance is transmutation. Handling adversity with grace is sovereignty. Dance can help you align. Dance is a fractalized initiation into correcting the rhythm in your life. Divine feminine is rising. True feminine power, the ever-flowing energy of the universe. The rise of the divine feminine comes from a strong place. It must be strong to break through to the other side. This is why I, Kali, am here. All who wish to channel the divine feminine energy of strength, fluidity, and flexibility will ride the changes easier and with grace, with great dignity, when they practice the dance of Shiva, with the courage of Lilith. A new day is dawning, but the old must die. Dark goddess will initiate you. During times of destruction, it is time for inner work. This is when magic occurs. When you fall, make it a part of the dance. Get real with illusions created in the age of Pisces that need to die. Because what has been dreamed of and up is manifesting in the age of Aquarius in real form. That is why things are getting strange, but they are also getting interesting, and it is all a part of the process. There are always perceived good and bad forces, polarities of everything, including in the age of Pisces and in the age of Aquarius. Understand that all things are cyclical, not linear. Birth, form, death, transformation, rebirth, and so on, and so on, and so on. Dance the dance. Get back into rhythm in your body, and you will see your life will align in every layer and aspect. It is really that simple, especially when that is your intention. Everything is a fractalized manifestation of the other. Okay, and transmission. The points I want to make have to do with cycles and divine timing. So I found this Kali transmission about the dance and the patterns and the cycles very interesting, because for me it clicked the whole universal law of rhythm. For those of you who don't know, there's a book called The Kabbalion, and it lists the 7 Hermetic teachings that talk about the principles, the cosmic laws of the way things work in this universe, especially on this planet. So one of them is the law of rhythm, and how all things have a rhythm, how all things have a dance, and that how it moves with the ebb and flow. And that connects with cycles, and it relates to balance, because when you have rhythm and you're dancing, you have balance, and it's the ebb and the flow, it's the to and fro, and this can be seen in the lunar cycles. Human nature is a reflection of Mother Nature, and we can't escape it. So when we are in alignment with these cycles on this planet, in our lives, when we understand that the lunar cycles are very much connected to the way we function, even the way things grow on the planet, we begin to understand that this, when we're in alignment with that, we are in alignment with divine timing, that all things are happening in divine timing. This is a bigger picture perspective as opposed to linear timelines. There's nothing wrong with linear timelines. They're helpful in the way that we are able to quantify and measure things and get things done on a step-by-step basis. And it's a slowing down of the process and getting to the nitty-gritty. Very important. But to balance that out, we must see things from a bigger picture and realize that the linear ways of seeing life are not the be-all and end-all. It is the cyclical spiral of life, the unendingness of it all, that is important to keep into perspective, so that we stay with high spirits, hope, and faith, and understand that all things shall pass. So I want to bring up some really meaningful, deep, insightful points from this amazing feminine astrologer named Demetra George. And I'm just going to list them off, and because they're really insightful, and I think it really connects a lot of things. So she talks about the feminine aspect of the mind processes the world through intuition, bigger picture cycles, unifying, interconnected, relational. The masculine aspect of the mind processes the world through logic, analytical and linear thinking, and separation. This focuses on how things are different in order to survive. This is good when we have to, obviously, when we have to eat, we have to have shelter, we have to stay safe. But also the negative aspect is that this can lead to isolation and separateness if this is the only way we're living our life. It's the us versus them. It is fear-based due to threatening external forces. In linear time, the end no longer is connected to the beginning, hence the fear of death as a complete ending, the ultimate terror, the end, the ego. Whenever aspects of the wholeness of who we are not expressed and accepted, but rather denied and rejected, they become distorted. So, do you see where I'm going with this? We have been living in broken cycles. This is a dysfunction in the way our society is living. I mean, we all can tell things definitely need some repair work, right? I mean, I'm not making that up. I do see the beauty in life, but there are things that could be improved. The feminine nature within us all has been rejected and denied as being sovereign. There needs to be a better way. The patriarchy, the way things have been established, have gotten us to a point so far, but Now it is time to balance it out with the feminine aspect. And that is about compassion, unification, bigger picture, intuition, heart-based response. Knowing that all living things and all things have a consciousness and that everything is alive. Because there's respect when we realize that all things are alive, not just there as objects to be utilized. Woman has many great gifts to offer the collective. Again, I want to reiterate, there's nothing wrong with the male aspect of the brain, the left brain. We have two for a reason. There's not one better than the other. They must learn to coexist in balance for optimum alignment, ascension, happiness, joy, and expansion. Harmony. So, as we're entering this age of Aquarius, this doesn't mean that the rise of the feminine is about the fall of the masculine at all. I'm not about that, okay? I'm not about that. I respect the male energy just as much as I respect the feminine energy. But we are being called right now to rise in the feminine because we are imbalanced. So maybe to some it may feel like, oh, feminism, woman power, oh, that's too much. Well, you got to break through to the other side in order to regain that balance. You can't do it in a way that is not standing in your power. There's many ways to do it. But it is to bring an equilibrium between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It is about healing the toxic masculine structures that have created the world we are living in and that no longer works. But a lot of us are deprogramming that as we're waking up. So breaking down patriarchal structures is a must. Because the toxic masculine energy is now beginning to deteriorate the planet. And we can see it in the collective as everyone's arguing over who is right and who is wrong. Someone's taking a side. There's this side or there's this side. Polarity. Who is bad? Who is good? This is judgment. Judgment is egoic. Judgment comes from fear, and judgment is a very toxic masculine trait. When we fight and we divide ourselves, we are actually fighting against our own ascension, individually and collectively. We are fighting against the new earth that wants to emerge, that wants to rebalance the scales. Feminine, masculine, in balance and harmony. We are fighting the ascension to higher consciousness. So this is a lot about taking the time to be still and observe and to be neutral and to stop taking a side and to see things from a bigger picture, from a compassionate, unifying, relational, conscious, bigger picture. We are in the collective dark night of the soul, and it's not going to be sunshine and roses. It's important to love ourselves regardless, to forgive ourselves and others, to have compassion for ourselves and others, and to trust. That might have been a long rant, but it was coming through, so I've shared. So the good news in the astrology is that Venus, the planet of love, and Mercury, the planet of the mind, are sharing space in the 7th house. So isn't that the epitome of what we're talking about? Love, the Venus, love, Mercury, the mind. So the heart and the mind, balancing the heart and the mind, balance, harmony. In the 7th house of Libra, which is partnerships, the other. It's also the scales, balancing the scales. So beautiful the way it all works and connects. So there is an opportunity here to learn something very beautiful about the way we communicate our values and our needs for harmony within ourselves and with others that's not divisive, that is a win-win. And this is what we were talking about earlier, about old ways of thinking that were creating ruts in our life that weren't allowing us to move ahead. So kind of maybe feel into that connection. Venus is in Libra, and then Chiron and Mars are in Aries, so they're opposing. So how I'm seeing it is that Venus is giving Mars and Chiron the Care Bear stare right now. She is sending love and support to the individuals and the collective to heal the root of the problems we are facing, our worthiness issues that we are projecting onto the world. Not feeling worthy because we have judged ourselves so harshly, and now we judge others through projection. So this wounded child is the byproduct of the inherited dysfunctional communication between the female and male energies that are imbalanced. And Chiron is assisting Scorpio in healing childhood patterns revolving around power struggles, betrayal, and hidden hostilities that were being internalized, then released out into the environment. With Mercury retrograde in Venus, this is a great time to discover how our communication has created imbalances and disharmony in our personal lives, even or as people, and how it's extended out into the world around us as a collective. Think about all the people in the world and how we come together and create what we create. But there is a chance for healing here, and that comes from vulnerability and compromise. So I'm going to end it with the last transmission that I received from Gaia Earth Mother. All right, let's see. We are currently going through a dark phase in the cycle of life, the transformation state between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. We are in the growing pains and the awkward stage. A time where we are called to go within. Those who choose not to go within, to not do the inner work, the shadow work, will be more susceptible to panic and fear from outside forces, and only prolong suffering, individually and collectively. Some people rather deal with fear of the external rather than face their own internal self due to self-worth issues, afraid of what they might see that might deem them unworthy. No one is unworthy by the very fact that they exist. It takes a certain amount of courage, faith, and self-love to jump into the abyss of our internal fears that seem like a bottomless pit. The other. But this is what is being called for us to do. It is said that most people will never jump until the pain of their current reality has become more great, that it outweighs the fear of the unknown. Some never jump, but have to be pushed off the edge. But we don't have to wait until we are suffering to face our shadow. We have the choice to take the initiative and to initiate. It's less traumatic. When we trust we will be safely caught, we can take that next step. So know that you are safe. The last few months of 2020 is a dark period in the lunar cycle. it is best spent in reflection and rest. Holidays are a challenge because they push us out of our biological alignment. In regards to cycles, when we begin to learn that everything is a cycle and learn how to work with these cycles, the ebbs and flows of life, we can rest more assured of the inevitable progression of unfolding events without fixating on the details. Society is in chaos mode because when there is refusal to look within, there is a prolonging of the outward chaos and conflict, driving deeper and longer into the intense darkness of the unknown. If we relax and use this time wisely, we will pull out of it easier. Fear, anger, and frustration are not conducive to stillness. Be still. If you can't be still, then move in the ways of harmony, movement. Divine timing is not only just about surrendering and allowing things to unfold. It's about understanding the cycles of the body, self, nature, cosmos, history, etc. We will step back into rhythm. We will find that perfect timing. Modernists spend the majority of time pushing against natural cycles, in resistance to natural cycles, pushing, using their willpower in ways that are self-harming, to the point of exhaustion, confusion, frustration, unease, stress, dis-ease, and everything in between. This is not how things intrinsically should work, which are proven in the fractals. Falling back into alignment is about standing still first, getting present before moving. It's about responding accordingly, not reacting. The more we do this, the easier it gets to make it a habit, and then it becomes second nature. And then we are in alignment. And we will find our lives to be more harmonious, on purpose, on path. When we get back into rhythm with our bodies, our cycles, eventually it reverts back to balance of the well-being. If you're not abusing it, the body naturally heals itself, wants to be in harmony. We must get out of our own way. Rhythm is an important aspect of well-being. That's why music and dancing heals on all four levels. Okay, that was what came through. Okay, I hope that was insightful. Thank you so much for your time, and if you have any questions or feedback or thoughts, please leave a comment. I would love to read them. And I think that's it. Wishing you much love and blessings.